Kendrick Lamar just rapped the most dominant 12 months any rapper has ever had. Not just successful, not just profitable, completely and utterly dominant. The Grand National Tour with SCA brought in $369.6 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing rap tour of 2025. His surprise album GNX earned 9 Grammy nominations, including Album of the Year. He swept all 5 Grammy categories for Not Like Us back in February, taking home Record of the Year and Song of the Year. He headlined the most-watched Super Bowl halftime show in history with 133.5 million viewers. And now, as December 2025 arrives and his tour wraps up its final show in Sydney, Australia on December 11th, the hip-hop world sits in complete agreement that nobody comes close to touching what Kendrick accomplished this year. This is the story of how he did it. Section 1. The beef that changed everything. March 22nd, 2024 changed the trajectory of rap when Kendrick appeared on Future and Metro Boomin's track Like That, and absolutely demolished the concept that he shared any throne with Drake and J. Cole. The setup came months earlier when Drake and J. Cole dropped First Person Shooter in October 2023, with Cole rapping about the big three of hip-hop. Cole's verse specifically called out the debate about who stands at the top, saying, "Love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K-Dot? Is it Aubrey? Or me? We the big three like we started a league." Most rappers would have seen that as a compliment, recognition from peers who were acknowledging your place in the pantheon. Kendrick saw it as disrespect. First Person Shooter, I hope they came with 3 switches. Kendrick fired back on Like That, before delivering the line that started everything. "Motherfuck the big three, end guy, it's just big me." No ambiguity, no subtlety. Just a direct statement that he didn't want to be grouped with anybody because he stood alone at the top. J. Cole responded with 7-Minute Drill in April 2024, then immediately apologized and withdrew from the conflict entirely, recognizing he'd stepped into something beyond what he wanted. Drake didn't back down. April brought Push-Ups from Drake, followed by the ill-advised tailor-made freestyle, where Drake used AI-generated voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg, which got pulled almost immediately due to legal threats from Tupac's estate. Kendrick answered on April 30th with Euphoria, a nearly 6-minute dissection of Drake's entire persona, calling him a culture vulture who relies on ghostwriters and questioning his authenticity. "Am I battling Ghost or AI?" Kendrick asked, pointing directly at long-standing rumors about Drake's writing process. May 3rd saw Drake release Family Matters, accusing Kendrick of domestic violence and claiming Dave Free, Kendrick's creative partner and label co-founder, fathered one of his children. Less than an hour later, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grahams, a devastatingly personal track addressed directly to Drake's family members, depicting Drake as a predator. The next day, May 4th, came Not Like Us, and that's when everything tilted permanently in Kendrick's favor. Producer Mustard had been sending Kendrick about 5 beats a day for 3 months trying to get his attention. On April 6, 2024, while at his manager's birthday dinner, Mustard sent one more beat, imagining what Dr. Dre would create if he was in a studio with Lil Jon. That beat became Not Like Us, which Mustard reportedly produced in about 30 minutes. Kendrick recorded his vocals and the track dropped May 4th with Drake's Toronto mansion as the cover art, marked with 13 red pins indicating the locations of registered sex offenders. "Say, Drake, I hear you like 'em young, you better not ever go to Cell Block 1, Kendrick rapped, directly accusing Drake of predatory behavior toward minors. Certified Lover Boy? Certified Pedophiles. The song went nuclear. It hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, became the most streamed diss track in history, and dominated the entire summer of 2024. Drake responded with The Heart Part 6 on May 5th, essentially waving a white flag and complaining that Kendrick wasn't playing fair, that he wanted to get back to facts instead of accusations. But in rap beef, there are no participation trophies for playing nice. Kendrick won decisively, and the rest of 2024 became his victory lap. Section 2. The Surprise Album. November 22nd, 2024 brought the kind of move that only an artist at the absolute peak of their powers can pull off, when Kendrick dropped GNX with zero warning and no promotional campaign whatsoever. The album appeared at noon with a 1-minute teaser video posted 30 minutes earlier on YouTube and Instagram, containing a snippet of an unreleased song the media started calling Bodies, since it remains officially untitled. 12 tracks, 44 minutes, released through PG Lang and Interscope Records with features from SZA, Dodie 6, Lefty Gunplay, Wally the Sensei, C7X, Roddy Ricch, Az-Chike, Hida J3, Young Threat, and Peso. The title references the 1987 Buick Grand National Experimental, a high-performance muscle car from the same year Kendrick was born, and the same model his father drove when bringing him home from the hospital. Soundwave, Kendrick's longtime producer and TDE sound architect, worked on the album alongside Jack Antonoff, the pop producer, best known for his collaborations with Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey. That pairing raised eyebrows initially, but Antonoff had already proven he could work in hip-hop when he produced 616 in LA earlier in the year during the Drake beef. The creative process happened in the darkness of recording studios, often into the early morning hours, with Soundwave describing the moment he knew the album was finished. "If I don't shed a tear by the last second of the album, it is not ready," he told Rolling Stone. "Once that last second of the last song stopped, 6 a.m. in the morning, I shed a tear. I was like, we're done." The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, logging the year's biggest streaming week for any hip-hop or R&B album, and the second biggest debut streaming week overall. All 12 tracks entered the Billboard Hot 100 simultaneously, with 5 songs occupying the entire top 5 at once. Squabble Up hit #1, followed by TV Off at 2, Luther featuring SZA at 3, Waxed Out Murals at 4, and Hey Now at 5. Kendrick became only the 5th artist in history to monopolize the top 5 spots simultaneously, joining Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, Drake, and the Beatles. Critics called GNX a return to West Coast hip-hop's roots, a deliberate pivot away from the conceptual density of To Pimp a Butterfly and the introspective therapy of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. This was rap that banged in cars and clubs, with tracks like Squabble Up and Hey Now built for parties rather than think pieces. Mariachi singer Dara Barrera appeared on 3 tracks, bringing Latin influence to songs like Walked Out Murals, Reincarnated, and Gloria. The opening track called out people Kendrick felt had betrayed him, including Lil Wayne and Snoop Dogg, who'd criticized his selection as the Super Bowl halftime performer, instead of Wayne in his hometown of New Orleans. Reincarnated reimagined Tupac's posthumous cut Made and Gas, with Kendrick casting himself as Jimi Hendrix and other artistic greats in past lives. The Heartment of Six served as the 6th continuation of his signature series, reclaiming the title after Drake had used it during their beef, with Kendrick reflecting on his time at Top Dog Entertainment, his departure from the label, and the creative struggles that defined the past few years. The title track featured rising LA rappers Hida J3, Young Threat, and Peso, while Peekaboo brought in Az-Chike, showcasing Kendrick's commitment to elevating younger West Coast talent. Metacritic gave GNX an 87 out of 100 based on 22 critic scores, designating it universal acclaim. Not every review was glowing. Pitchfork's Alphonse Pierre wrote a mixed assessment, criticizing the production as too clean and synthetic, and calling out Kendrick's heavy-handed, brand-conscious narrative, though he acknowledged the delivery remained stellar. The Ringer argued that GNX provided explanations for why Kendrick is the GOAT of 2024, but didn't answer bigger questions about structural changes in hip-hop. AllMusic's David Crone called it a pillar of reflective realness, a flag planted in the lineage of black musical visionaries, a silhouette of the West Coast in the high beams of fame, and Kendrick's most speaker-knocking set to date. The debate about whether GNX ranks among Kendrick's best albums missed the point entirely. This wasn't supposed to be To Pimp a Butterfly Part 2. The album represented a conscious choice to make music that would thrive in the streets and on tour stages, rather than in critical essays. Songs like Luther, where Kendrick and SZA delivered a smooth R&B collaboration, showed he could eat Drake's pop lunch while maintaining artistic credibility. The track would later become one of 5 songs from GNX, nominated for Grammys. Section 3, The Super Bowl, February 9th, 2025, brought Super Bowl-like at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, and Kendrick stepped onto the biggest stage in entertainment, knowing that half the country wanted to see if he'd perform Not Like Us and reignite the Drake controversy. The announcement of Kendrick as the halftime performer had sparked immediate backlash from Lil Wayne fans who felt the New Orleans native should have gotten the slot in his hometown. Wayne himself expressed disappointment publicly, and Drake's camp made it known they weren't happy either, though Drake's criticism of the NFL and entertainment industry's selection process came across more as sour grapes than legitimate grievance. Jay-Z, whose Rock Nation produces the halftime show, stood behind the decision to go with Kendrick. Concerns about whether the NFL would allow Not Like Us dominated pre-show discussion. The song's explicit accusations about Drake being a pedophile and the inflammatory nature of its lyrics made some people speculate the NFL would force Kendrick to skip it. Those people didn't understand what was about to happen. Kendrick opened strong with GNX songs Luther, Man at the Garden, Peekaboo, Squabble Up, and TV Off, bringing SK out for their collaborations and giving the show immediate momentum. He performed an unreleased song fans had nicknamed Bodies from the GNX teaser video, proving he still had new material in reserve. And then, about halfway through the 12-minute performance, Mustard returned to the stage and the opening notes of Not Like Us started playing. The Superdome erupted. Kendrick performed the song in full, not censoring the pedophile accusations, not backing down from any of the inflammatory content, making it clear that this was his moment and nobody was going to dictate what he could or couldn't say. The performance transformed from the muted, darker palette of earlier songs into a colorful montage showcasing black art across time and space, including ancient Egyptian artwork and visuals by Parliament Funkadelic. The staging emphasized West Coast pride and cultural authenticity, the exact themes that Not Like Us hammered home about Drake being an outsider who appropriated without understanding. 133.5 million viewers watched the performance, making it the most-watched Super Bowl halftime show in history, surpassing the previous record. The cultural impact extended beyond just viewership numbers. Kendrick had taken a diss track that accused another artist of being a predator and performed it at an event where families watch together, where children sing along to the music, where the NFL's brand rests on maintaining broad appeal. And he got away with it completely because the song had become so massive that excluding it would have been the controversial choice. The performance cemented what the previous year had established. Kendrick Lamar occupied a space in hip-hop where traditional rules no longer applied to him. He could release an album with no promotion and debut at number 1. He could perform accusations of pedophilia at the Super Bowl and break viewership records. He could do whatever he wanted because he'd earned that position through consistent excellence and a decisive victory in the most public rap beef in modern history. Section 4, the tour. December 3, 2024 saw Kendrick and SZA announce the Grand National Tour, and the announcement alone told you how massive this was going to be. 19 stadiums across North America for the initial run, presented by Live Nation, PG Lung, and Top Dog Entertainment, with the former TDE label mates reuniting for the first time since the championship tour in 2018. The tour got its name from the same Buick Grand National Experimental that inspired the GNX album. Tickets went on sale December 6th through Ticketmaster, with an exclusive pre-sale December 4th for Cash App Visa cardholders who could use the first 9 digits of their card to unlock early access. The tour kicked off April 19, 2025 in Minneapolis at US Bank Stadium, and grew as dates were added. Toronto got an additional show. Inglewood added more dates. European dates were announced February 10, 2025, with shows in Nanterre, London, and Frankfurt added as demand exploded. Australian dates came June 11th, with Kendrick performing solo at Melbourne's AAMI Park on December 3rd, and Sydney's Allianz Stadium on December 10th, plus appearances at the Spilt Milk Festival between December 6th and 14th. South America got 5 dates announced June 27th, with Ka 7 Riel and Paco Amoroso as opening acts. The final tour included 47 shows across Europe, North America, Australia, and South America. DJ Mustard opened the first stretch of shows in the United States, Canada, and Europe, while Doshiai and Schoolboy Q alternated as openers for the Australian shows. SZA used the tour to promote her line of lip products called Not Beauty, setting up pop-up stores at venues selling lip glosses, creams, liners, and stains exclusively on tour. She also began a series of behind-the-scenes vlogs documenting her experiences at each concert. The stage design carried elements from the Super Bowl halftime show, with choreography and visual concepts refined and expanded for the arena format. Kendrick's sets included segments of Anita Baker songs, creating bridges between his music and soul music history. The setlist remained flexible throughout the tour, with both artists rotating songs based on the city and crowd. At the Houston show, SZA performed I Hate You. In Atlanta, Kendrick added N95, while SZA did Nobody Gets Me and What Do I Do? The first East Rutherford concert saw SZA perform Consideration and Another Life. Mexico City brought out Rich Spirit. Atlanta's show featured a surprise appearance by Playboi Carti for Good Credit. Kendrick's performance of Not Like Us remained a highlight every night, though the song took on different energy in arenas versus the Super Bowl. In stadiums filled with his fans rather than a mixed audience watching at home, the track became a communal celebration rather than a controversial statement. He performed it multiple times at the Pop-Out, Ken and Friends concert on Juneteenth 2024, playing it 5 consecutive times as the crowd lost their minds. Tour footage showed similar reactions night after night as cities across the world sang along to accusations about Drake that had become so embedded in popular culture that their original shocking nature had transformed into accepted wisdom. The tour grossed $369.6 million worldwide according to Billboard's rankings tracking October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. That number demolished the competition. Tyler, the Creator's Chromacopia, the world tour came in second place with $174.5 million, less than half of what Kendrick and SZA generated. Other tours in the top 10 included Nelly's Where the Party, At Tour, You a Side Boy, You Side Boy's Grade A Tour, Travis Scott's Circus Maximus Tour, Wu-Tang Clan's Wu-Tang Forever, The Final Chamber, and Youngboy Never Broke Again, but none approached the financial dominance of the Grand National Tour. For Kendrick, this marked his first all-stadium tour, a massive leap from the arena shows of the Big Steppers Tour in 2022. The progression from theaters to arenas to stadiums over the course of his career tracked the growth of his cultural influence. SZA experienced the same trajectory, with the Grand National Tour being her first stadium run as well. The pairing made perfect sense both financially and creatively, with their collaborations on GNX reminding fans why their chemistry worked so well together. The tour's success validated everything Kendrick had built over the previous year. Not just the Drake beef victory or the Super Bowl performance, but the decision to make GNX an accessible, party-friendly album, rather than another dense concept record. The songs translated perfectly to massive venues, with tracks like Squabble Up and TV Off, designed to fill stadiums with energy rather than requiring quiet reflection. Critics who complained about GNX being too polished or not groundbreaking enough missed that Kendrick had deliberately crafted music meant to be experienced live in these exact circumstances. The final show, December 11th, 2025 in Sydney, closed out not just the tour but an entire era of Kendrick's career. 18 months from the Like That verse that started the Drake beef to standing on stage in Australia, having conquered every possible metric of success in hip-hop. The financial numbers, the critical acclaim, the Grammy nominations, the Super Bowl performance, the cultural dominance. Nobody else came close. Section 5, the Grammys. November 7th, 2025 brought the announcement of Grammy nominations for the 2026 ceremony, and Kendrick led all artists with 9 nominations, his third time topping the leaderboard after previous dominance in 2016 and 2019. GNX earned nominations for Album of the Year and Best Rap Album, marking Kendrick's 5th consecutive studio album to be nominated for Album of the Year, something no other artist has ever accomplished. Luther featuring SZA received nominations for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. TV Off, featuring Lefty Gunplay, got a nomination for Best Rap Song. The 9 total nominations brought Kendrick's career total to 66 Grammy nominations, with 22 wins, putting him third among rappers behind Jay-Z with 25 wins and Kanye West with 24. The 2026 nominations set up potential history. If Kendrick wins Record of the Year or Song of the Year, he'll achieve back-to-back victories in those categories after winning both for Not Like Us at the 2025 ceremony. If he wins Album of the Year for GNX, he'll become the first solo male rapper ever to win in that category. The Recording Academy has never given Album of the Year to a solo male rapper in the awards history, with Outkast being the only hip-hop act to win when they took home the trophy for Speakerbox Ikatas Gia The Love Below in 2004. Jack Antonoff and Kirkut tied for second place with 7 nominations each, followed by Lady Gaga, who also received 7 nods. Bad Bunny, Sabrina Carpenter, Leon Thomas, and mixing engineer Serban Genia each scored 6 nominations. Soundwave, Kendrick's longtime producer, received 5 nominations for his work across multiple projects. The breadth of Kendrick's nominations across different categories demonstrated the comprehensive nature of his success, with recognition for the album as a whole, individual songs, his performance, his songwriting, and the production. The ceremony is scheduled for February 1st, 2026 at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, airing live on CBS and Paramount+. Kendrick's performance from the 2025 ceremony, where he swept all 5 nominations for Not Like Us, created massive expectations for what he might do at the 2026 show. Taking home all 9 nominations would be unprecedented, but even winning 4 or 5 would represent a historic achievement that would push his career Grammy total past Kanye West into second place among rappers. Kendrick and SZA's collaboration, Luther, made them the first occasional duet partners to receive 2 Record of the Year nominations, having previously been nominated 7 years earlier for All the Stars from the Black Panther soundtrack. This marked the first time that 3 albums received nominations for both Album of the Year and Best Rap Album simultaneously, with GNX joined by Tyler, the Creator's Chromacopia, and Clips's Let God Sort 'Em Out. The competition in the rap categories reflected the genre's creative diversity, with Kendrick's West Coast revival competing against Tyler's experimental production, and the Clips brothers' return after years away. Bad Bunny became the first Latin artist to receive Grammy nominations for Album, Record, and Song of the Year. In the same year with DB Tirar, Mas Photos, and DTMF, creating a historic moment for Latin music's recognition in the Recording Academy's top categories. Lady Gaga also achieved nominations in all 3 major categories for the first time since 2010, when she competed with Poker Face and The Fame. The 2026 nominations demonstrated Kendrick's position as not just a dominant rapper, but as one of the most significant artists working in any genre. His 9 nominations across multiple categories placed him ahead of every other artist, including pop stars, rock bands, and country performers. The Recording Academy's voters, comprising music professionals across all genres, had spoken clearly. Kendrick Lamar represents the peak of contemporary music creation. Conclusion. The final count shows $369.6 million from the tour, 9 Grammy nominations, the most-watched Super Bowl halftime show ever, a #1 album that swept the charts, complete victory in the biggest rap beef in modern history, and universal recognition as the best rapper alive. December 24th, 2025 finds Kendrick Lamar at the absolute peak of what hip-hop success looks like. Not just commercially successful, though he is. Not just critically acclaimed, though he is. Not just culturally dominant, though he is. All of it simultaneously, operating at a level that makes everyone else's accomplishments look smaller by comparison. The 18 months from March 2024 when he appeared on Like That to December 2025 when his tour wrap